Okay, so I'm just gonna, now I'm gonna give you some of the things that I've noticed training on synthetic tracks, and I think everybody here will agree with it. Is that when the horse first gets on the track, suddenly you hear him forging, click, 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 going around there, and everything we've noticed, there are a lot of shoes are pulled on the tracks. So now the horse has to adjust his stride. He has to adjust the length of his stride to adapt to the surface. When you start adjusting the horse's length of stride, you're going to adjust his performance. So one of the things I noticed is, you used to see that big mover, of course it gets over the ground. You're really impressed when you saw it. The rider's not being pulled out of the irons, he's just got a nice hold on. You say, wow, who's that? Who's that horse? And you don't see that anymore. You see the horse that has a little shorter stride going around there. So, I mean, those are some of the beautiful things about a thoroughbred, to see that really impressive mover. One of the things I used to have on my wall in my barn to kind of keep the focus up was I wanted a bigger, stronger, faster horse.
You got it.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, and suddenly that was not a goal anymore. I couldn't get that bigger, stronger, faster horse with, you want to bring each one up to the next level, up to the next level. And that wasn't happening anymore. And as they were getting fitter, there was something undermining their well-being. I call it like a hidden fatigue factor. I really don't understand it, what's going on. But as the horses were getting fitter, they were losing a certain amount of strength. And then, obviously, we've all seen the switch of injuries from the older horses to the younger horses, which is detrimental to racing in any jurisdiction. So that clicks on with my thing about the fatigue. I don't know that a young horse has the strength. Generally speaking, there are exceptions to every rule. Every horse is, there are great horses out there that can handle anything. But for the general population, I don't know the timing of the training to get that horse that doesn't have that inner strength to perform on synthetics early on. So one of the things I noticed, because you go down to shed row, hell, the ankles are cool, knees aren't, there's no heat there, you're looking, what's going on, what's wrong here? Well, how come that horse isn't performing the way I want? So I kind of liken that now, maybe in some time we'll know, it's driving a car without any gauges. You just can't pick up the early warning signs of a pending injury, or not even injury, but a decline in the horse's general condition. It's very difficult. The thing that's so illogical for a trainer is you're supposed to be training on a softer, kinder surface, then suddenly you have all these foot problems pop up. So you're wondering, where's that coming from? And it's just hard. It's hard to understand it logically. And those are some of the things I see, and I'm sure everybody else has other comments to make.
This is the chart that causes so much controversy in this industry. And let me make one thing very clear right now. There's nothing mysterious about this chart. Anyone can do the same calculations, file a PRA with the California Horse Racing Board, and ask for all fatalities for all racetracks between January 1st, 2004, and for this chart, December 31st, 2009. You can get the start data from the racing secretaries at each racetrack. Everybody can come up with the same calculations. The bottom line is that California averaged and I'm talking about the 4 tracks here that converted to synthetic. The tracks averaged 3.05 fatalities per 1,000 starts, a very bad number. Synthetics, that's dropped to 1.93, and you can see turf is 2.22 over that same period of time. That translates to about 60 to 70 fewer racing fatalities on those surfaces. Interestingly, when you look at the training data, it is not as conclusive, or it doesn't show as dramatic of a change. This is probably, statistically, these are hard to analyze, these numbers. It takes an epidemiologist, statistician, but these aren't dramatic changes. And there's a big difference between North and Southern California on these numbers as well. There's Golden Gate Fields training numbers are actually worse now than they were prior to conversion to synthetic. They were better on dirt than they were now on synthetic. Sometimes they're very good. A good example is here at Santa Anita. We have hauled 2 horses off in the afternoon on the main track. One of them was a bleeder. The other one was a re-injury. There has been no racing fatalities on the main track. We're 7 weeks into the meet. There's nobody in this room that's ever seen that because it's never happened before. This is basically the issue that the Horse Racing Board had to deal with at this particular time is a 40% increase in thoroughbred fatalities, actually all fatalities in the state, in 2006 when the CTT unanimously asked to change to synthetic surfaces. I believe the TOC was the same. Everybody wanted to do everything, and this all came after Turfway, which installed a synthetic surface on Turfway and saw an 85% reduction in fatalities, and I think everybody got ahead of itself. Greg Ferraro, my colleague, when we had a similar meeting to this at the CHRB in 2008, said if we would have spent $1 million on R&D, we could have saved ourselves a lot of grief. And I agree with that. We're still trying to play catch up. But the fact is that we are seeing a decrease in thoroughbred fatalities. Here is a key issue. The fact is 90 to 95% of all racing and training fatalities, musculoskeletal fatalities, have pre-existing pathology at the site of their fatal injury. To put it in other words, those horses were injured before they went out there. That's the reality. The question is, are we missing them or are we ignoring them? And I think that's the real take-home message, and I'm reinforcing what Dr. Uzal and Dr. Antonil said earlier on. 90 to 95% of all fatal injuries have pre-existing pathology. It's amazing how many times you go back and look at the confidentials and find out a horse that broke an ankle had an ankle injected 5 days before the race. And as owners, go on your vet bills, find out how many of them been x-rayed or injected or had Banamine the morning of the work along with the Lasix. I think those are issues that we have to be looking at. Track surface is only one factor. Excuse me, this slide shows pre-existing pathology at a number of different issues. Shoulder, humerus, tibia, back, carpus, pre-existing pathology prior to the fatal musculoskeletal injury. Same thing with the number one issue we deal with, condylar fractures and sesamoids, which Dr. Antonils and Dr. Stover have produced a very, very important paper that was published in the American Journal of Veterinary Research just recently. And this is the type of pathology we're looking at. Here is a fatal, this is a case that was submitted, and look at the change here in this cannon bone and the electromicrograph on the bottom. Pre-existing pathology.